unless you're Gucci or Prada or something, sales go down when you raise prices.
Can't see where I'm moving, can't catch me. It only works for Trump's showmanship.
Hey everyone, I'm Haley. I study strategic communications. Let's sharpen our media literacy skills together. This is how to push back. Trump's tariffs and trade policies are back in the headlines again, so I thought we'd take the opportunity to talk about how the two news outlets frame the return of those tariffs. One is emphasizing control and pride, the other leans into fear and uncertainty. Along the way, I want to introduce this concept for recognizing emotional bias in media. It's the emotional drivers. So these are core needs that news outlets tap into to shape how we feel.
The food business has been the poster child. I can tell you we don't want to raise prices. Okay, nobody wants to do that, because unless you're Gucci or Prada or something, sales go down when you raise prices. Right now, there's three buckets. There's the tariffs, which could have an impact on people's pocket. But I sort of feel a little bit this will all work itself out in the fall, which could have.
So here we're seeing a grocery store CEO talking about inflation, food prices, and how tariffs affect his business. He's using a few rhetorical tools here. He's making an appeal to control, essentially saying we're doing everything we can to absorb these tariffs, and also adding a pride framing. He's saying we're not Gucci, we're not Prada, we don't want to raise prices. So in that way, he's aligning with the average viewer's values, and he's signaling humility. He's also leaning into sort of the expert ethos. He's saying, as a business owner, I'm practical and trustworthy, and you know that because I'm a business owner. So what I see here is that the emotional driver is control. It, I think, is trying to tap into our desire to feel protected from forces outside our influence, like inflation, tariffs, supply chains, things like that.
You know, it's interesting. We used to export tremendous amount of lobsters from Canada and Maine, like 80 million pounds a year over to China because of that tariff. A lot of that supply is coming back to the U.S. We're seeing lobster prices drop a little bit. Egg prices are down. We've held our ground beef price at $3.99, you know, for all the hamburgers and everything. So the challenge I have right now is I'm absorbing usually half of the tariffs with our suppliers. And if I want to hold prices on things like that people really need today, which is like ground beef and chicken breasts and so forth, it's going to cut into my margins a little bit. So
what I notice here is a shift from global policy to local impact. The segment personalizes Trump's tariff plan by showing how everyday business owners are adjusting. They're cutting costs, they're delaying their opening hours. It's appealing to this sense of personal resilience and control, but it leaves out the whole broader economic consequences and how systemic or sustainable these changes really are.
Did you hear what he said? Every time we send a letter, that's a deal. No, it's not. But I want to hear what the Nightcap says about this. Max, what is your reaction to this?
You know, we've talked about these deals for quite some time now, and it's clear that Donald Trump doesn't love the actual deal, but he loves the attention and the show business of it all.
So what's happening here is Trump is saying that every letter he sends counts as a trade deal. And the MSNBC host is mocking that statement and suggesting that it's all performance. So they're using some mockery and sarcasm here to hint that it's not a deal, it's showmanship. They're also dismissing some of Trump's authorities, so they're undermining the seriousness of his policy approach. I think the emotional driver here is uncertainty. I think they're suggesting that the public is being misled or manipulated and tapping into ideas of unease or mistrust. It feels good to laugh at absurdity, but the reaction also steers us away from grappling with policy implications. I think this clip invites distrust, but doesn't necessarily replace it with any clarity.
It's this Schrodinger's box in which every country in the United States are in a constant state of both being tariffed and having a deal almost in place. And we're never going to get to open that box, because once we do, once it's settled, it takes away the showmanship, it takes away the interest of Donald Trump. And it's just like, all of us have been through this so many times.
What we're seeing here is the panel critiquing Trump's inconsistency. They're comparing his tariff strategy to bullying and show business. They're doing some moral framing. They're painting Trump's actions as selfish and erratic, and they're describing this as a repeat performance. I think the emotional driver here is justice. I think they're encouraging the viewer to feel morally right in seeing through the spectacle. The emotional pull might be justice, but I think that the framing might also help to discourage curiosity. If we feel certain that someone's a fraud, we might stop looking for new information. We saw 4 different emotional drivers today that media often tap into: control, esteem, uncertainty, and justice. These emotional levers are used in all kinds of media, not just the news. For example, a political ad might use control by showing a confident leader handling a crisis, or a viral ad might lean into esteem by celebrating someone's intelligence or their grit. And a meme might tap into justice by mocking hypocrisy or calling out some perceived wrongdoing. So every time I see a story that stirs a strong emotion, I try to pause and ask, what emotional need is this targeting, and who benefits when I feel that way?